Assalamualaikum and good morning. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So to have a barakah from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, let's start our webinar with recitation of Al-Fatihah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
We are excited to have you here. So this will be a great opportunity for us to learn from each other and grow together. Before we go further, my name is Nurul Fitri, binti Zakaria from the Communication Department and will be responsible for hosting this webinar. And not forgetting our lecturer Dr. Aida binti Mohtar, who is our backbone in making this webinar successful. And here I welcome Dr. Aida to briefly explain of our today webinar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you so much, Ellysha and Tuan Haji, for coming to the webinar, and Ellysha for introducing the whole program, and to my students as well and others. This is an important webinar because we look at the practical aspects of promoting halal products in Malaysia and abroad. And Tuan Haji Roslan from HDC is an important person, of course, and I've known him for quite some time, isn't it, Tuan Haji? We haven't quite
Yes,
spoken.
yeah, Dr. Aida. Yeah, Dr. I'm
Yeah,
also, by the way, the board, a member of the board of studies of IIUM in Had.
I see. Okay, all
Okay.
right. So you often give advice to I in heart
Yeah, yeah,
on curriculum and so forth. Okay, that's nice to
yeah.
know. And yes, and so today we'll listen to Tuan Haji talk about promoting, isn't it? Promoting halal products locally and abroad, and give some idea as to what the development is like, and what tips, what advice could be given to communication students who would be interested in helping to promote halal products locally and abroad. Yeah, Tuan Haji?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much
All
for
right.
inviting.
Yeah, no problem. We are so honored to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ellysha?
So thank you, Dr. Aida, for briefly explains about our today webinar. So our topic is about promoting halal products in Malaysia and abroad. So development and advice. So we will take questions throughout the webinar. So please feel free to type them into the chat box. I will bring them up during the webinar, and we will have um, for we will have time for questions at the end. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to our respective guests. Our presenter today is Tuan Haji Muhammad Roslan bin Muhammad Saludin, who is the chairman of a sectoral working group, Food Services and Halal Development. And he possesses outstanding experience that related to our today topics. For those who don't know, our guest is alumni and also an ex-staff of our university. So, and now, without further ado, let's start.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for inviting me for this speaking session. I was actually invited to speak, but not to present. So I did not prepare any slide. And I hope that this will be in sync with what the webinar intended to to get or to obtain. Yeah, what I'm going to speak about is what are the development of halal products in Malaysia, with regards to not only development, what are the underpinnings of developing halal as a national strategy, and that role is of course casted in a form of me as the chairman of the sectoral working group, particularly focusing on uh, halal development for the next 10 years from 2020. I was first appointed 2020 because of the MCO. It was dragged into, in 2 years, and now we are in 2022. So by by having this, by having this position on my shoulder, it brings about exposure to many undercurrents or the problems faced by manufacturers, especially SME, with regards to development of halal products or halal export. Eh? And the issue is actually based, or the reason for it is because there is this miscommunication. This is where I think students of communication should look into providing their expertise on how communication could extend its its helps towards development of this strategic national development design on halal, not only locally but internationally. Oh, yes, Mr. Rafiq, thank you. Mr. Rafiq Musa is the CEO of a product named Rafiq, which is now in the market, available in the in in most of the supermarkets. Thank you. He was my former colleague in Ayamas and KFC, and also one of the big bosses of Pizza Hut. So he's attending. He's attending to perhaps verify what I am going to share with you today. Back to you, Nurul Isha.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay. We will continue with the questions. Okay.
You are breaking up. Okay.
Okay. We will continue with the questions. Okay. The first questions. With your experience, what is your view on the developments of halal products in Malaysia versus abroad?
Well, currently, if you look at what Malaysia has achieved for the past 20 years, 20 over years, with regards to halal development, it is astounding. Yeah. But mind that the fact that other countries are as eager as well to 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 use or to have halal in on their agenda when it comes to export, particularly export to those Muslims and non-Muslim, Muslims and non-Muslim, non-Muslim Muslim countries, especially, when you talk about the export to Middle East, to Indonesia, for example, which puts halal as something on the benchmark of their imports. So that is something that we observe for the past 20 years, where the growth of halal products locally, not much, because we have already come to a point where it is saturated. We have developed into, I think, more than 8 standards related to halal. So that shows how it has gone so far into halal development, not just food. We are now into so many other areas of logistics, of pharmaceutical, of in fact, now we are looking at medical devices, yeah, in terms of halal development. While abroad, if you look at the countries that are leading in halal development, countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, China, Thailand. These are the countries that are actually competing, and at some point, they are actually, for example, Thailand. Thailand can be said to be the largest producer and exporter of halal food. Yeah, compared to Malaysia. Of course, Malaysia is the numbers is actually based on the bulk export of palm oil, which is of course certified halal, unlike that direct consumption products. food, for example. Malaysia is still lagging behind Thailand, behind some other countries, Indonesia, in fact. But the fact that we have all the potential in terms of we have been developing halal for the past many years, and in fact the standards are being nurtured in the country, we have actually an edge over the rest of the world because of the uh, uh, sound footing that we have, yeah, and the support of the government with regards to developing the market, developing the standards, developing the guidelines with regards to halal certification and development has put Malaysia at the upfront, yeah. uh, just like finance, just like Islamic finance, yeah, Malaysia has actually been on top of the list halal uh, of halal development in the world, no doubt. But this cannot be sustained unless Malaysia continues to grow, continue to aspire for something. I mean, to be always in the upfront. I will share with you later on why it is so and why we are still lagging. I mean, we are losing in some areas. For example, the production of pharmaceutical, for example, we are going to be lagging behind if we don't take the necessary action to actually be position to be the champion of halal development in the world.
Okay, as you mentioned earlier, we are
Mhm.
still lagging behind in certain sectors, and
Yeah.
so how will this impact the Malaysians?
Of course, when you talk about halal products, we cannot escape from referring ourselves to the uh, the manufacturer or the producer of products that is very critical to putting Malaysia on the top list of halal producing countries. Yeah, we know we are lacking in terms of ingredients. Yeah, for example, we have to import meat from elsewhere. We have got to import. Sometimes chicken is a problem, such that the government has allowed for imports of chicken, and then critical items like ingredients are lacking. We have to source it from elsewhere. And in fact, sourcing elsewhere is not a problem, but the problem is sourcing for halal ingredients. That is a problem because not many countries produces halal ingredients to actually support the producing and the manufacturing of halal products in Malaysia. I'd like to congratulate IIUM, especially in Hard, which have focused on ingredients as one of the core core research focus of InHeart, in particular for the purpose of producing alternative ingredients with which is halal and also a source from the country. So I hope with such initiative, this will be potentially putting Malaysia on the run to be I mean to be sustaining the the position of the upfront position in the halal in the global halal industry. In fact, when you talk about halal, it's actually yeah, it's very. I mean, I can consider. Uh, uh, there are three pillars with regards to what halal is all about. Yeah, it's always about accountability. It's always about traceability. It's always about transparency. So these three pillars are very important when you talk about producing halal, developing halal, because if you don't have these three pillars in place, accountability, traceability, and transparency, we will not be able to achieve what we want to achieve, what we want to, I mean, what we hope for to be achieved. This is not going to be, to be, the ending, to be just the ending, because as you know, the uh, it goes to say that, nothing is constant except change. When the world change, we have to change. We have to change how we behave. We have to change how we produce. We have to change. uh, in fact, the most important thing to students of communication is how you communicate. Also, you have to change. Yeah, this is so. Particularly when we talk about today's world, we see over dependency on digitalization, on the what they call the frontiers of technology. Yeah, the the application of AI, the application of, you know uh, computer analytics, system analytics, systems, is very much dependent on digitalization. So it is not only just communication, but the way we approach our market, uh, the way we establish our network, has to have an input of digitalization. We cannot be dependent anymore on just the conventional way of doing things. Yeah, I will share with you later, because I think the organizer has set for a lot of other questions. I wanted to just cram it into one session, but I think it's just fair for me to be just attending to what Nurul Asia is asking me, so that I will not be haphazardly going around, speaking, a lot of things in one shot. Nurul.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that when the world changes, then the halal industry will also change. So, how does the halal products being promoted based on the changing of the world?
Okay, when you talk about promotion of the halal products, of course now we see, especially after MCO, after we were put in a position where we cannot interact in the normal way. The new norms has has given us the opportunity to be using, to be familiarizing ourselves, yeah, to get familiarized with what is actually the alternative of not meeting physically. So we use digital, we use, in fact, today we are on this webinar. This is also how communication are being done with regards to how to order things, to ascertain whether orders are coming. There's no more a written or verbal communication through the telephone. It is, it's a face-to-face meeting on virtual platform, like the one that we are using now. Ordering can be done, verification of things. In fact, to the an extent, during the MCO, there are initiative where audits are being done virtually. So these are the things that we have to see coming to us. I mean, in fact, it's there. We have to see how it is going to be, to be efficient in terms of getting the work done, not conventionally, but according to the development of our surroundings. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers the question, Nurul. Back to you.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned about the issues of ingredients, right?
Yep.
So during my research, I do some research. So I
Mm.
found that there are another issues that related to the in promoting the halal products. So the first one is I found an article that mentions about um, I quoted from the articles. So this issue has placed consumer, especially Muslim, in a state of worry and lacking confidence in the halal status of products in the market. So the worst part is the potential lack of trust by consumers in Malaysia toward the halal certification authorities, especially JAKIM. So how to tackle these kind of issues?
Now, I have already mentioned about the three pillars of halal when it comes to halal development or producing halal, manufacturing halal. The three pillars needs to be intact. Yeah, the three pillars, as I mentioned just now: accountability, traceability, and transparency. So you cannot miss one of these. It has to be one has to be accountable, one has to be able to be traceable in terms of knowing where its sources comes from, yeah, including ingredients, and then how transparent are we in terms of letting people know, yeah, communicating, disseminating information with regards to our product. So as these are the three pillars. Actually, if you fail in any one of these, then it is a problem. And you see in our recent history, yeah, failure of accountability in terms of you know the administrative, yeah, of getting imports into the country led us into a problem of perceived, yeah. This is another issue, yeah, with regards to communication. Perceived yeah, idea that we are we are bad in terms of administration. We are, we have these loopholes. We have this vacuum to fill with regards to the adulterated imports of meat that is non-halal. If you all remember, yeah, that was a big issue. Yeah, it puts into question the integrity of halal with regards to whether the consumption of meat in the country is well administered, well governed by the existing law, by the existing authority with regards to control over items going into the country. So if you this is sometimes we can say it is a perceived idea, but the fact that based on that perceived idea or perceived reaction to the whole balance, to the whole problem of imports, actually is not on the shoulder of Jakim alone. Huh? We know that there is this control of ports by the port authority, control of what is being imported by METI, for example, control of what food is coming in is also under, for example, other agencies, Kementerian Kesihatan or Kementerian MAFI, Malaysian Agriculture and uh, Fisheries Department. These are all controlled by different departments. So lacking of coordination, lacking of working together, yeah, and then transmitting information to ensure that everything in the in in the whole supply chain is managed efficiently to sustain, to ensure traceability. So this is what I call failure of traceability in the administration of. So it's not just Jakim alone that is that is tasked to do that, but it also depends on other agencies. That is why during my chairmanship of the food services, this is very critical to ensure, because what we want to make of the Malaysian halal governance is actually to ensure governance, to ensure integrity. So that cannot be done just one agency. It has to be done by including KPKT, Kementerian Pembangunan Kementerian KPKT, the one that issues licenses, that issues businesses to operate in a certain locality, in a certain place, in towns, for example. So those authorities need to also be roped in into ensuring traceability in the supply chain, because they cannot be operating illegally in a place without the knowledge of the local authority. This is how we should actually see uh, into into this, and hopefully we can manage if all agencies are aware of the fact that we need to work together. We cannot work in silo. We cannot be, we cannot be passing we cannot be passing you know passing responsibilities around. This is not my doing, this is your doing, this is what you have to do. No, we have to sit and discuss what wants to do. And I think uh, the 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 HDC sectoral working group in this regard has been putting up this agenda of uh, better organizing, to better organize, to put in place a coordinating forum for those agencies involved in each and every item in the food sector in particular. Yeah. Okay, continue, Nurul.
So I believe that the synergies from many parties were needed to combat these trusty issues from the consumers.
Yeah.
So there are another issues that experienced by the managers of the restaurants itself themselves. So one of the interviews mentions that managers who has experience undergoing the process of applying for halal certification. So the finding shows that they have to wait for the halal certification for 6 months, and there are a lot of steps involved, and high costs have to be incurred. So they are among the reason why people refuse to apply for a halal certification. So will my e-halal system be able to combat this problem?
Okay. Combating the problem of difficulty in application of halal certificate is another perceive another perception that was put in place by in in the public sphere. Yeah, actually, it's just a perceived idea. It's not something that is established. It is actually not difficult, because if it is difficult, for example, I have the experience of doing, halal certification for 1,000 over premises and outlets when I was the general manager of KFC, Pizza Hut, and Ayamas. Yeah. So I don't see any problem with regards to that, because, of course, some people will say that you are you are a giant, you are a giant company, whereas what we are talking about those small and medium enterprises, the micro what they call businesses that is applying, and it is said, yeah, it is perceived to be difficult because they have got to do a lot of things. But let me tell you that Jakim has to abide to just one standard. Yeah. Perhaps they cannot be establishing a few standards. This is for micro. This is for semi upon SME, and this cannot be for multinational. They cannot have different standards for different kind of honor, because we are talking about halal. Halal, halal is something that is to Muslims is very clear. Either it's halal or haram, and in between you have to be foregoing it. I mean, what is not certain, you should not be consuming it or using it. Yeah. So this is the difficulty when you want to have you want to make things easy to get halal certificate for the benefit of your business. You don't want to be operating in a conducive environment, with regards to the safety of food, the quality of environment provided for your worker, for your employees. So these are actually being the problem with the especially the micro, because they handle everything. They do not don't have a team to address the issue with regards to food safety, with regards to cleanliness, with regards to fulfilling the other standard that is required of halal certification. For example, the halal certification requires that you cannot mix whatever that you are producing for yourself in your kitchen to be produced for the consumption of the public, uh, for the public, or for the purpose of selling it to the consumers, and then asking for or applying for halal certificate. Yeah, you have to operate in a separate premises, in a separate premise, in order to obtain halal certificate. This is seen to be a problem, but that is not the problem, because if you are serious about your business, or growing your business, or making sure that everything is in proper order, you have to separate your 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 business operation from the operation of your household kitchen. So this is the kind of problem that is faced by the micro in businesses. Yeah, of course there is no issue with regards to, because I take care of my kitchen very well. I make sure that there is no, but the making sure or asking people to go and audit into your kitchen is a problem. So that is why it is not allowed to be to have an operation within your house, within your, I mean, within your house can, but in a separate premise. Yeah, not in the same kitchen where you also fry food. The fact that this is so because perhaps the Muslims don't see this as a problem, but we see this as a problem if you start giving out halal certificate for kitchens, which are, for kitchens in private homes. Then we have the problem, because we have not restricted the non-Muslims from applying for halal certificate. So how do we control actually things like that in terms of using the utensils, the storage? These are some of the difficulties by I mean, from the point of view of the authorities, when making sure that whatever that is outlined, whatever that is put into guidelines, meets the meets the what they call the standards that has been laid down by Jabatan Standard Malaysia, as well as other authorities with regards to safety of the food that is being produced for public consumption. Yes, back to you, Nurul.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned earlier that halal is a big matter to the Muslim. So
Yeah,
halal was translated as permissible, and halal product is a good for your body. This is due to the fact
yeah,
that a healthy body are required to have strong, are required to fulfill our responsibility as a Khalifah of Allah. So, New Street
yeah.
Time mentioned that a higher awareness of adopting halal products as the foundation of a healthy lifestyle. So, what is your thought about these statements?
Well, I think it is rightly put into place, because we as Muslims, especially when we talk about how to develop oneself, yeah, be it your family, yeah, your surroundings, it has to be based on our belief in God. That's why now this brings me to share with you a slide that I have actually, uh, so that it can be understood as to what are the things that I have in mind in terms of uh, uh, permit me to share. Can you see this? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Can you put this slide on show for everyone to see?
Okay, Ellysha has to have the slides, right? For her to show.
Not she has to have, she can share. I already share. Can you all see?
Ah, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So when I was in QSR brands, yeah, handling KFC, Pizza Hut, and Ayamas, this is the principle that I worked out in terms of putting the motivation to the staff as well as to reaping the trust of the masses with regards to the brand, because previously we have problems with attending to the brands in terms of this perception of whether it's halal or not halal, whether it's rightly controlled in a manner for which it should be managed. So I put in an effort, because this is of course not just my view, but I think people can agree with the fact that uh, whatever that we do in our life is actually, you know must be based on the principle of the Maqasid Syariah. Yeah. What are the principles of the Maqasid Syariah? If you look, number one is about protecting the life, protecting the life, menjaga nyawa. Yeah. So menjaga nyawa and then menjaga keturunan, progeny, and then menjaga akal, menjaga harta, ekonomi, and then of course if you can if you can take care of the four in the on the top, nyawa, keturunan, akal, harta, which is economy, you are actually protecting the religion. Huh? So this is what Imam Al-Ghazali has propounded. Yeah. Why it has to be halal? Because uh, religion, as you know, yeah, be it any religion, but very particular when you talk about Islam. Yeah, Islam provides, comfort. Yeah, with regards to when when you have majority of your workers, when you have majority of people who are looking at your produce or your products. Yeah, as well as your consumers, your target group for which you want to sell your products. Yeah, so they always refer to what is said or uh, what is sanctioned by the religion. So when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Muslim, when it comes to when you talk about food, when you talk about consumption of food, it the first question or the first thing that pops up into his mind would be whether it is halal. Yeah. Uh, Mind the other questions that can come through again, where halal, who are the certifiers, whether these certifiers can be trusted or not trusted. Yeah. So these are the things that will prop up. Yeah, particularly when you talk about 60 to 85% of those people who have interest in your business, those people who put effort into your business, those people who are your client or your consumers, yeah, are 60 to 85 Muslims. Yeah, but of course, the company that I work with, also operates in other. But the fact that the interested parties, the parties that is not directly involved, those who buy shares. For example, like QSR brands. Last time it was during my time, it was owned by KWSP up to 30%. So you know, EPF is one of the the agency that holds the investment of Malaysians. If you take Malaysians, 65% of the Muslim population, Muslims, we can say that at least 35% of those contributing to EPF are Muslims. And they also want to ascertain that their investment are halal in terms of whatever that it has invested into. So that is why we see that Islam or the religion plays a very important role in determining lifestyle, to determining how we interact, how we produce food, especially in Malaysia and elsewhere also. If you talk about Indonesia, if you talk about the Middle East, last time the awareness was not that was not uh, was not that was not in that level that we see today. But if you look at recent statistics, recent data, yeah, countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia are following fast, uh, in terms of making sure that whatever comes into their country are halal certified by the right authority. And that is where Jakim is actually uh, charting, yeah, uh, charting the steps, yeah, to ensure that whatever standards that is being issued by Malaysia is actually applied throughout the OIC. And we have this initiative. Oh, I got a message call end in 10 minutes. Oh, how do I manage this? Are you
Right.
managing it? Huh?
There's a limit to this, right, Ellysha? Is there a way to extend it?
Because I have received a 10 minutes notice. So make sure that because I don't have control over this.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry to interrupt.
if I have anything to do with controlling it, then let me know how to do it.
Yeah. Is there any way to extend it, or maybe we could go to a different Google Meet
Yeah,
link? Yeah.
yes. We have to go to the different links.
I
Okay.
think
Okay,
Can you
either
pick one?
you provide me the link because I have a lot more and I see there are many more questions that I need
Yes,
to
yes.
attend.
I think Sister Nurul, you can still proceed with the session. No need to change the link. It's just a
Okay.
reminder.
Oh yeah.
I
All
just a
right.
reminder. Just maintain the session.
Okay.
Ah,
Thank
All
you,
right.
Doctor.
okay, Nurul,
Okay.
back to
Proceed.
you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not in the sets questions. So this is based on my experience. So many restaurants nowadays use the no pork. And so how does your views on these matters?
Okay, using the no pork sign or the no pork phrase to indicate that you are or to give the impression that you are operating in a halal way is actually if you know what halal is all about, as I said just now, it is guided at or it is based on the three main pillars of accountability, transparency, and traceability. So if no pork no lard can subscribe or can be uh, you know can be can be ascertained using these pillars, then it's okay. But the problem is, how do you accountable for no pork, no lard? Yeah, when you don't have you don't expose yourself to audit. Yeah, for example, yeah, that is required of the pillars, which is of course, as I said, you have to be transparent. So there is no issue of audit in those premises, in those businesses or restaurants using that phrase. Yeah, because they have not subjected themselves to that pillar of transparency. And transparency can only be there if there is a system or there is a mechanism in place where you can perform audit or you can ascertain compliance to certain requirements. For example, if in this case, how do I make sure that the food is free of pork and free of lard? But it's not just free of pork and lard, but the ingredients, yeah, sometimes is also in question with regards to so this come into question the issue of again traceability. Yeah, how do you trace in when you look at halal certified premises by Jakim, all these are being looked at, are being attended to, are being documented, are being put in place. That is why the halal logo is expensive. The halal logo has a value, and it is something that is already accepted by not only Malaysian, but the whole wide world. They have accepted that Jakim halal logo signifies the compliance to the pillars that I have mentioned: traceability, accountability, and transparency. This is the thing that makes a difference between Jakim halal certified and personal halal announcement. Okay, back to you, Nurul.
Okay, thank you for eliminating my confusions. And for the next questions, what are the challenges that could be addressed in promoting halal products in Malaysia and abroad?
Okay, that go back. That let me go back to my slides just now. Permit me to share again. Okay. Okay, this is what I have been sharing for the past many years, especially after 10 years of my service in QSR brands and a group of companies. Yeah, you can translate also this one into English. Yeah, S for services, Q for quality, U for ultimate, and then A for accountability, and then S for consistency, sustainability, and of course the last one is halal. This is how things should be done. Yeah, we look at into service. Yeah, for the purpose of developing, there is no question about providing the par excellent. Yeah, par excellence.
Haji, do you have slides to show?
Yeah. I'm showing the
We
slides.
cannot see. We cannot. Wait, can I not see that? I cannot see them. I
Unless
don't
you,
know. Ellysha, can
unless
you see them?
No, madam.
Cannot.
Yeah, we cannot see the slide.
you
We
cannot
cannot
see
see
the
the
slide.
slides, huh? Haji, you did not share them.
Okay, let me do the sharing again. I thought I've already shared it. Did you see the slide now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, what's the question again just now? Nurul?
Um, hold on. What are the challenges that could be addressed in promoting halal products in Malaysia and abroad?
Okay. Some of the challenges with regards to to how to behave in a halal environment. Yeah? So how to overcome the obstacles, how to actually penetrate the market using halal as the what called the halal as the selling point. So I've already been using this as something that is applied in QSR brands in KFC, Pizza Hut, and Ayamas. Yeah, one of the important one of the important strategy to ensure that we succeed in making sure that halal is accepted and our halal food is accepted is by providing a superb service, a par excellence, yeah, in terms of service, yeah. And then we come to quality. You can change the K to Q, yeah. Quality, it meant the same thing, squash, yeah. This is normally this is the slide that I use to explain to students what are the how to overcome, yeah, the challenges that is uh, that is on the agenda in when it comes to implementing or promoting halal. We have to have because when we talk about service, it has to be par excellent. We have when we talk about quality, it is also something that we need to pay attention to, because quality involves not just about food safety, it's about wholesomeness, it's also about making sure that life is protected in terms of not allowing anything that is poisonous into the food that we prepare. Yeah, and then we talk about achieving excellence. Ulong, we don't want to be number two, we don't want to be number three, but when it comes to producing halal products, we have to aspire for what is the best that we can offer. Uh, what is the utmost that we can offer to the consumers. Back to the question just now, how we overcome the challenges. So these are the things that Islam has provided us with the what they call the complete guide on how to behave ourselves in life, including we as producer, not just about to get to be seen as to be seen as a Muslim in Shahada, in performance of our salat and I mean the five requirements to be a Muslim. But it is also about, if you are a provider of a service, it needs to be provided with a uh, uh, cer- certain level of quality, certain level of seriousness, yeah, assurances, and of course sustainable to the environment. And of course, halal is, when you talk about halal, when you talk about halal, it has encompasses all the above. Okay, Nurul.
Okay, just now you talk about the challenges in promoting the halal product. So how about the acceptance of halal products in foreign countries?
Uh, okay. Acceptance of halal products in foreign countries. Of course, if you read the news, there are certain what they call resistance to to promoting or to show halal as a, requirements of taking food or consuming certain services, for example, like logistics and medical device. But of course, this is understood as resistance will be there in whatever that one do. Uh, I have got problems. Hold on. Stop sharing first. Okay. Okay. uh, we have got receptors, but reception, if you look at it in general, we see that big multinational corporations, Yeah, like McDonald's, KFC. These are big multinational. It's not a company that is, that was started in Malaysia. In fact, it was started in the US. McDonald's. You look at other brands, for example, Nestle, Kraft Food. You list all those big companies, yeah, when they have their products in Muslim countries, in Muslim majority countries, in fact, in non-Muslim majority countries as well, when they sell their products, halal is a must. This shows how it is being received very well by multinational corporations. Uh, but not only that, if you look at the development of halal or the provision of halal in countries like South Korea, in Japan, during the Japan Olympics, and then you look at Vietnam, you look at Philippines, yeah, this country are actually very serious into producing and also making available halal products to not only because halal is not only about, they know that halal is not only about complying to the Muslim requirement, but it complies to the general requirements for control, for assurances, for standards compliance, and of course food security, because this is something that is not going to be compromised by halal. If you talk about safety of foods, it is a non-compromising issue when you have halal certification. You talk about forgery, false declaration of ingredients. It is also not permissible when you have a halal certificate. We have to be transparent. Yeah, producers have to be transparent when producing goods. They have to make sure that if they declare it does not contain MSG, even though MSG is something that is halal, then it has to be not containing MSG. Although it is halal, it is going to be non-halal certified because the declaration is not as per what is being served or what is being produced in terms of the ingredients. So this, I think, answer your question. Back to you, Nurul.
Okay, when talking about the promoting halal products, so um, it needs some assistance from other parties. So how does HDC encourage Malaysian entrepreneurs uh, to do business in halal products?
Well, under this program of the sectoral working group, we have various programs. Yeah, in fact, we have also got government support in terms of doing programs for doing awareness program. Yeah, and then establishing a platform. Yeah. Now, currently, they are working on a digital platform in terms of provision of training. Yeah. And then there's also another platform for which, when you talk about businesses, when you talk about not just halal businesses, but any other businesses, the importance of networking. Yeah. And then of course when you when you are a producer, you need to market your products. You have also HEC also has provided a platform for them to not just get training but to also market their products, not to just market their products but to also do networking, not only with their consumers or their clients or the consumers, but platform to network with the larger group of suppliers throughout the world. So these are some of the initiative, and of course they are also working together with other businesses. For example, the banks, the agency providing providing funds or providing loans, like SME Bank, CIMB, Maybank also. Uh, the initiative have been taken by HDC to ensure that these are being 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 channeled, yeah, to those who are in need, in particular those people who are interested in producing halal products. Yes, Nurul.
Okay, we have acknowledged the efforts of HDC, and now how significant is the roles of the government in supporting Malaysian companies in creating reputable Malaysian halal products brand overseas?
Okay, this is something that Malaysia can be proud of, and Malaysians can be proud of. No other countries is providing the kind of support to the development of such an important agenda. Yeah, halal is the national agenda. Government has been supported. I think there are more than 40 agencies that are involved in terms of uh, putting the agenda in into work. We have, of course, Jakim. We have. I mean, I don't think I should list out all the names of the agencies, but you can see for over 40 agencies that are involved in halal, including including the commercial sector as well, because it in every banks, SME banks, and then the private banks, there are initiative uh, for those who are involved in halal. Yeah, the government has been have been supportive of this halal agenda for the past. I mean, from its inception. The amount of money infrastructure that has been put into promoting halal has made Malaysia the champion of halal agenda in the world, in fact, and it has also shown how it is important, and it has also managed to incite awareness not only locally but globally. And now we are seeing this halal is something that is being on the agenda of the OIC by the establishment of the SMIC, or the the Islamic standards. And it is also uh, it's also something that we are proud of, because Malaysia in 1990s, as far as I remember, has has already put in place into the standards controlling agent, of food in Malaysia, defining what is halal. So this is something that has been achieved by Malaysia in terms of support to the halal products and of course halal producers in the country. And not mentioning many other initiatives provided by HDC, for example, the halal development parks all around in the country. We have 15 halal parks in Malaysia, including one of the largest one in Sarawak. So this halal agency dedicated to producing halal certified halal products is is a showcase of government effort to promote halal. In fact, if you look at the requirements of food contractors, to schools, to hospitals, they need to declare the halal status, although they are not required. They are not mandatorily required to apply for halal certification. They are subject to contract terms which define halal as something that is uh, not perceived but can be proved to be halal certified.
Alright.
Right, Nurul?
Um, You mentioned earlier that halal products obtains positive attitudes in the foreign country. But how about the Muslim in the foreign country? Because a finding by the Guardian, halal meats have entered supermarket in New Zealand. Still, Muslim consumers are hesitate to consume the products. More than half actively seek out Muslim butchers. is provide us with the insight that brand awareness of the halal food industry is very vital. Plus, halal products involve consumers' trust in products. Based on your views, how can the Muslim partners create brand awareness and obtain the trust of the consumers in the toward the products?
Uh, this is, I think, the problem of communication. Yeah. So when you talk about communication, the efficiency of communicating certain messages is not necessarily up to fulfilling your desire. For example, you want to communicate the halalness of your product. Yeah, the quality of your product, but on the recepting side, they doubt it. But when you talk about halal certification, if it is Jakim's halal certification, it fulfill certain standards that is required of the halal of the whole halal supply chain. Yeah, because Jakim's halal certification is about ensuring the whole supply chain to be clear of non halal compliances. Yeah, so the reception, of course, is not something that is alien. Yeah, in fact, in Malaysia, I've seen a lot of Muslims myself, including my friends, who do not trust what is imported from India as halal meat. Uh, uh, I mean, you know, when you have this it's not something that should discourage us from doing halal. Yeah, we do as much as possible, but the fact that we need to ensure we communicate the right message, we communicate awareness on, as I said, the pillars of halal: transparency, traceability, and accountability to the consumers rightly. Inshallah, I think it is something which is which is to be done continuously, because there are a lot of differences, yeah, in terms of mazhab, in terms of when they say that this is non halal. In fact, I have experienced the export of our products to the Middle East was turned down. Six what do you call, six container, yeah, has been put to waste, you know, just by the fact that certain documentation has not been fulfilled, and then issues that was raised, yeah, that the chicken that we export, yeah, although it's already in the form of semi cooked product, is found to be with blood. And of course, blood is something that is haram and that we cannot consume. So just because of that, although we have explained that no matter how we slaughter it, fulfilling the requirements of halal slaughtering, the blood remains in the bones, and you cannot escape from having uh, blood in the bones of chickens, even though they are already marinated and whatnot. So these are, I think, trivial issues that we have to address, and of course communicate effectively, efficiently, to ensure not only our products but our produce are being accepted not only locally but widely globally.
All right, thank you, Tuan Haji. And
Mm.
for the next questions, since you are an expert on this field, may I ask your opinions on the futures of halal market in local and global perspective?
Okay, part of it I have answered in during my other. Uh, if you look at the statistics, the market now is 3 trillion USD globally. Yeah, and Malaysia's export, yeah, is expected to reach 45 billion. Yeah, so this is in compare. You can compare, because I don't have the statistics how much it was 10 years ago, or how much it is 5 years ago. But the fact that it goes into that amount, uh, that, that is projected, yeah, for the growth of halal products throughout the world, 3 trillion USD signifies how what are the prospects, how it is being received. Because halal now is not only just, as I said earlier, accepted by Muslims, but non-Muslims also view that halal provides them an extra control over its safety, its quality, its assurance of traceability, accountability, and traceability, accountability, and transparency. So I mean, not all products that is being produced in the world are subject to such a principle, such principles, especially when you talk about transparency, accountability, and traceability. Halal, certainly, it has to go through that process. And the authority is, of course, JAKIM and the halal body outside that is recognized by JAKIM. But the fact that it goes through the process is something that can be an extra assurance for consumers to consume halal products. And I don't see that, in fact, if you go to any supermarkets in non-majority Muslim countries, for example, in Singapore, yeah, uh, I mean, majority of the products on the shelf of the supermarkets are all halal certified. Either it's halal certified by JAKIM or halal certified by bodies recognized by JAKIM elsewhere. And if you go to England as well, I've been to a lot of countries here, and I've seen halal products around, and I see halal products can be on the shelf, uh, of many supermarkets if we are only aware of the fact that it's something that is accepted, by the market, because it provided that, as I said, extra assurance, extra mechanism of control over the quality, over its what you call control of ingredients and production, in terms of fulfilling the standards with regards to food safety, and also declaration of its content, yeah, including its sweet. Because I have the experience of, when I was working with KFC and Pizza Hut, I will have the experience of performing, or operating in non-Muslim countries. Yeah, like Cambodia. Yeah, it is non-Muslim majority country. On a handful of the population are Muslims. I think less than for 300,000 of the 12 million population of Cambodia are Muslims, but yet we perform, or we use halal as the standard for quality, standard for assurance, standard for accountability, standards for traceability. And this is received well, and we have been operating there for the past 15 years, and it has been received very well in Cambodia, in fact. The only problems that we face during my time, and I feel dejected about it. I feel that I have not been able to reach out. It was in India, but it can be understood because operated. We once operated KFC India, and of course I cannot say or what is failing us, but the fact that I've been I've been I've been exposed to the other issues of communicating certain things to the masses. And of course, you have to also understand the fact that when you talk about the Indian market, majority of the population are not consuming meat, and that would be a reason why we fail in KFC India. But there are numerous other reasons, perhaps. But the fact that uh, I am exposed to operating in India uh, give me a larger view of what should be done when you want to explore markets worldwide, but having that commitment to halal, because we in QSR brands back then was committed to halal. Wherever that we operate, wherever that we export halal. Wherever that we operate in the halal manner. Yeah, but because of the reasons that I mentioned earlier, 85% of the workers are Muslim, 60% of the shareholders, 65% of the consumers that supports the company are all Muslims. So halal cannot be something that we can afford to compromise. Uh, so that exposure to India let me allow me to to see the bigger picture of doing business, halal business abroad, especially in non-Muslim majority country, by which some issues with regards to religious sensitivity, culture, are some other issues that is actually beyond our control, but give an impact to its growth and it's also its sustainability. Okay, back to you, Nurul.
Due to the time limitations, we have to skip few questions. And our last question is, what is your advice for students, especially for those from communication, to enter the halal industry?
Okay, being a student of IIUM, yeah, I'm from the library science department. I used to work in the library in IIUM. Yeah, I hold a master's degree in library science, library and information science. I don't know whether it's still there, but I believe it's still there. And that was in the 1990s. Yeah, that was in the 1990s. 1992, 1994. I graduated, and then I served until 96, 2 years in the library. And I was the one who managed or uh, who is part of the team to actually develop the Gombak campus in terms of their digital infrastructure. Yeah, especially the library. Yeah, because I was the executive there. So uh, as a student, I believe that you have this ideal of looking at your career with regard or in relation to what you are pursuing in your studies. But let me tell you that whatever that you are doing now is only a small portion of what is going to be. Small does not mean it is unimportant. Yeah, small does not mean that it is unimportant. Yeah, whatever that you do is going to be small but contributive to whatever career development you are pursuing. Yeah, of course, taking myself as an example, you know, uh, being exposed to a master's degree of how you manage information have given me a lot in terms of how documents are being controlled, information are being stored, and how information are being disseminated. Not only disseminated to the public, but more importantly to the regulatory authorities, to those people who have who have this interest, direct or indirect interest to your business. Yeah, this is also true because in every field, communication is very important. I'm stressing out this. Communication is very important because if you fail to communicate, you fail to network, you fail to approach, you fail to create awareness, you fail to a lot of because miscommunication is something which is, you know, which is accepted while over that is causing misunderstanding, that is causing the other business to be happening. Yeah. So miscommunication is something that you need to take care of. But believe me, what you are going through is going to be contributive to whatever. In fact, in halal, communication is very important. In any other businesses also, communication is very important. Yeah. In doing networking, in managing interpersonal well-being. Yeah. When you work in an environment, communication is actually work in action, or what is going to be affecting you in terms of your career development, whether you are going to be promoted or whether you are being asked to resign. It's all based on how you communicate yourself. Communication does not, I don't mean by verbal communication or written communication. It's also by doing something. It is actually communicating something to your surroundings and behaving in as an industry. For example, it's also communicating a message to the public, whether you are responsible or not, whether you are taking care, whether you are abiding to the principles of the Makasih Sharia or or not. This is something that is making a difference. But let me tell you, whatever that you are pursuing now is not going to be the only thing you need to be, exposed to other areas, other issues. In fact, you are talking about digitalization or the digitalized world. We are now at a different level compared to the previous. Your word needs to be uh, taken into account when you interact, yeah, using the digital media. Yeah, because that will give that will give an impact to you as a person, to your organization as an organization, and to the country, yeah, as a whole. If you behave, for example, in the media, in the social media, for example, if you behave in such a way that is very, yeah, unethical. Yeah, when you interact in the internet, it give a message to the world about how we Malaysians are. That is where it's going to be impacting Malaysia as a whole. So I think with that, I think that is my best advice to you lah.
All right, we have came to the end of the sessions. Thank you very much to our speaker, Tuan Haji Muhammad Roslan, for bringing this session to a close with such delightful remarks and prospect and being willing to spend your time despite your busy schedules. And I hope that with this enlightenment from Tuan Haji, our future Muslim partners will be able to contribute in promoting halal food services and making Malaysia as a global halal hub. Furthermore, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen, and your participation is greatly appreciated. And I would like also to apologize for any inconvenience that occurred during this session. So let's move on to the photography session. Okay, everyone, put up your biggest smiles and thumbs up.
Turn on your cameras as well. Yeah, turn on your cameras. Thank you. Tuan Haji, dah excited gambar. Thank you so much, Tuan Haji. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for inviting. I hope
Yeah.
it has motivated your students to.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Okay, have we taken a group photo or not?
Yeah.
Ellysha. Yeah,
Yes, it's
done
very
already.
good. Okay.
Okay.
Can I
All
end this
right.
session with wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone. Have a good day.